Just put my initials on it, or what do I gotta say?
To run for legislature. Are you for Paul Muscles?
I don't know about this in here, I just filled out the one thing on
Huh?
it. I don't have a committee or none of that.
Well, Paul's not running. Paul can't, but his son is. So it's his son's name, Keith.
On my own, so I just put all my information on there.
Yeah. Sure, Tim? Really? On Jeannie's side or your mom and dad's side?
I thought Ken didn't do any of that either, so go ahead and get his. He can turn it in.
No, he did not give that, but that has to go with this.
I didn't come around that way.
Oh, it's nice out.
They bought a tractor now?
That's not too good.
Yeah.
It is the 26th. Yep. Yeah, we're supposed to get, yeah, he's gotta have 400 to get on.
Oh, really? He likes to stay active.
He spoke here before, and he has he's the chairman of the Board of Commissioners now, and he ran for district representative 6 years ago. He was on the hall, so trying to sign some petitions.
Last night.
I guess.
Yeah, the boy was preaching at car wash this morning.
Yeah.
And Jane, one of
Oh, they're
them.
local, but
So
I can't hear you.
My God.
I have a check.
We'll go to car wash about
He's here
5
somewhere.
Okay, as soon as Ken signs
Yeah,
it,
right.
so.
We're supposed to be in it.
Yeah, he's in the last showed up at 10:30.
You have one of these to fill out.
One quarter is due.
Says that, we don't have a committee, just put your own address and stuff on here.
That's what I want to make sure
I
of.
haven't submitted half the name.
Maybe
I'll fill that in.
keep them in names.
Yeah, no, we'll stay out. They're outside chatting.
I don't think anything, I
You put on there for a committee, I see.
We want, no, we don't have.
I was gonna quit and try to invite him on Free Street.
What else is this question number?
And I didn't buy anything to cook.
My son's telling me you'll be assigned to the
He's going into
If you were doing an election.
something like that, it's my story. You tell it, you tell it. We talked, he's got his picture and said, you sure? I might take it. Come, don't bring anything, we got some much food. Yeah, we do. I'll bring my refrigerator, just come. Just have your hands. I food salad, we got.
I think if I shut that one box.
All right, it's 1 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. One thing we'd like to do is, it's a holiday weekend. Some of us have been ill all week, and would like to get some rest. Let's try to keep it orderly and short, please. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
other ones, so they read the cards and everybody's got their money in their pockets. But that wasn't necessary, but they loved it. They'll probably come up and see it this when they're off from school.
So the Ryan and the GIS wasn't added, I penciled it in, but it's not on there, so. I move that we add Ryan and GIS map into the agenda. We also need to reopen the annual meeting.
You ever stay with the writing?
Yep.
Yeah. I kind of forgot about some of that stuff.
Lori, I know it's hard for you, but can you speak up because you've got heater, we can't hear
Yeah, hopefully it's shutting off in a few seconds.
you. Can't hear anything.
Welcome. Somebody was on.
Yeah. You want to hand one to Jerry? I think there's one.
I got extra.
Motion on the floor to add the two and approve the agenda.
He's got extra one of them.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Any more agenda?
I think they're all gone. Oh, they're all gone? Okay, sorry about that. That's cool. Oh, that's all right.
There's something left to be one there.
Okay, we gotta approve the 2015 minutes.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from the March 21st, 2015 annual meeting.
Second. Okay. We got a motion on the floor to accept the minutes as read from the March 2015 meeting, annual meeting. Second by Ken, all in favor?
Aye.
2016, 2017 wage review. It's basically the same as this previous year, except for we had passed, and we have to adopt the removing of the per meeting extra pay for the zoning administrator. And then at the very bottom, there was a change, and this is state mandated, the mileage rate per mile has gone down 2 cents. So we have to, but all the rest has remained the same.
I believe this is where everybody votes.
Okay. Now, this is, this part of the meeting, let everybody know that all of our residents are allowed to vote in this portion of the meeting. So,
Are we allowed some discussion?
I don't know if it's really, if we already discussed the change in, the one change in salary. It was discussed at a meeting, so it's just a matter of approval.
I would think we would, if there's some discussion.
Yeah, if there's something major or something, I imagine we would probably care to hear about it.
Well, I'm just looking at the administration in the last year, and we've managed to increase the legal fees over $8,000 and lose at least $4,000 in revenue. And I'm wondering if possibly some of these salaries should be reduced for lack of performance.
That's not allowable legally right now.
It's a Michigan law, and it states, do you know what law it
You
is?
can't reduce the wages. Unless you had a proposal, I believe in January.
Wages can't be reduced while an officer's in the current term, but it could be reduced for a future term, but not a sitting officer.
We'd have to vote on it today, discuss it, to vote on it for a change.
It could be changed for the next year, but not the current year.
What's the question?
Reducing a wage,
Pursuant to lack of performance in government.
Okay, but the law says wages of an elected official cannot be reduced during their term.
Yeah, that's what they just said.
Yeah. The exception being if part of their workload is reduced. The specific example cited in the law is if you have a supervisor assessor who's paid a certain amount and then does not do the assessing, that's hired out to somebody else, then their salary can be reduced by that amount because their job is being reduced by that amount.
So if the board is responsible for making decisions on township properties and they turn that responsibility over to the planning commission, does that constitute a reduction in their duties?
No, that's the planning commission's job to plan the future of our township.
I thought that was the board's job.
Ours is the financial end. That's like when we'll decide how much money to put towards roads. It'll be the planning commission's decision at which roads gets the attention first. We can put suggestions into them, but it's technically their.
So the planning commission is now determining the road commission duties?
No, which roads we were going to allocate the money to first. So if we say we're gonna put $500,000 to roads, planning commission's got $500,000 to say, we're gonna start doing this road first, or we're going to do this, this, and this with that $500,000. That's planning commission. They plan our future. That's why it's called a planning commission. It's
Shouldn't we elect them then if they're planning our future?
That's the way it's set up.
But we can make a motion for the supervisor and the clerk at this meeting for their salaries for next year.
Yes.
No, you actually have to bring that in probably like January of next year.
This is annual meeting, correct?
Right, but it has to be within 30 days before. We don't have a February meeting at this time. If we had a February meeting in 2017, you probably would have the 30-day window, but you do need to have it 30 days before. You need to propose something.
All right, well then let's put it in the minutes that it gets put out there that, come January, that.
You can bring a proposal, you have every right.
Alright. I got I'll put we accept the wages and mileage review as read.
I think we need to vote on them separately
Okay.
and probably a roll call. Well,
No.
unless it's a community vote, so.
Has the zoning administrator wages been decreased, or are they the same as last year?
What we voted on was the salary's gonna remain the same,
Okay.
but there was getting the $75 for each meeting to show up. And being the 4,500 should have been part of his salary, he should have been showing up at the meetings regardless, as part of his 4,500, so he was technically getting paid twice for
So
the
he's
first
being
duties.
given an addition.
Correct, he didn't get the additional for,
What is the interim
Well,
200?
that is what Keith requested.
Okay, that's what he's
This
getting.
was reviewed,
And this is-
this was
and
reviewed
he's-
in January.
Okay, I'm fine, but Keith is considered the interim.
Yeah,
Okay, and currently we do not have a zoning administrator.
correct.
Okay, that's what I want to clarify, thank you.
yeah.
I mean, if somebody wanted to move that, Keith now receive the salary until someone's replaced, that would.
I don't want that, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I can simplify things a little bit. The annual meeting, the electors get to vote on the salaries of elected officials,
Oh, not the
not
appointed?
appointed or hired. That's strictly up to the board.
Okay. So,
All right, then I move that we proceed with reducing per meeting and per board meeting and per planning meeting per Dan for the zoning administrator to reduce it from 75 to 0 and just include it in the job description.
we don't have no,
Do we have a second
I'll second that one.
discussion?
Any discussion?
Unless the floor's got any more questions.
All in favor of keep? We had the motion on the floor and was seconded, is that we reduce the zoning administrator just to $45,000 or $4,500 a year, and we were reducing it by not paying him the extra $75 per meeting.
It's just a board vote.
That's just a word vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the only other change we're having, yes, I said aye. And the only other change is, and we really don't have a choice, is the state per mileage is changing from 56 cents a mile to 54 cents a mile. I put that motion on the floor, we do accept that. Ken, second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need to approve all the other wages then?
They're set.
They're set, they're just continues on. Okay. Now, we're gonna close the annual meeting and open the public budget hearing meeting for 16-17 budget.
separated by funds. We have a general operating fund, a fire fund, and a road fund. The first page is the general operating fund. And there are 2 years past 14-15 beginning budget, 14-16 beginning budget, and then what our actual expenditures were and receipts for those years. And then the last column is the proposed beginning budget for the next fiscal year of 16 and 17. The state revenue sharing is pretty consistent. You can go online and look that up. This year they're projecting like $61,948. However, in 15-16 they projected $60,060.35, and we didn't quite reach that. But that is, you know, the sound number defined. We have 1 mil operating taxes, but we do not have a full mill. It's 0.84 something. We have around 30 million.
Any assets?
But that we tax, property that we tax. Admin fee is our other source of revenue, and then the other ones are pretty minor. So that's estimated to be around $97,000 for the next fiscal year. Currently in our checking accounts, we have $95,928. From last year's taxes that have been collected, there is in your packets, probably towards the back, a sheet from the county that shows what they have collected. And we did get 1 payment from them already, so what is left that they actually have collected is $9,324.97. That's guaranteed. Chances are there will be a little more. The $7,000 payables due, that would include the software, a few proof checks that we have that will be coming in.
Back here.
It should be probably back.
Probably in the back. If it's-
Yeah.
No, just like this.
It's called the settlement report.
It was what I requested from the county, because with the county doing the taxes, we don't actually have these numbers. I finally got that.
And then on the following page, we have the expenditures. And I do know one change already that does need to be done. This is an audit year, and their audit usually runs around $25 or so $100. So I'm already wanting to change that number from on line 9 on general expenditures and add $2,000 to that amount for $26.50. What do you need?
We're lost.
Still trying to find expenditures.
Look at this page, it's all stapled together. And just, the first page is revenue.
So that's the
Second
page 1 going up, and then we get down to line item 9. It's an audit year, I forgot about the audit. Just reminded me, I had to go right in here.
Can I just make a point of information?
Yeah,
I think the FICA amount is wrong because the last quarter
we didn't have payroll in the last quarter.
of the last
You're right.
fiscal
It will
year
need to be raised, yeah.
that
Okay,
was paid within this year's
yes,
budget.
thank you. So I do move that we raise $800 to $4,000.
For the FICA on line 11?
Yes.
So instead of 1,300, it's
It'll be
4,000.
4,000.
And then line 9, you're gonna raise to 2650?
Yes.
Yeah, because of the audit.
4650.
No,
It's at 2650.
no, it's at 650.
Oh,
The very last column,
Lori, is that audit every 2 years,
every
correct?
other year.
Every other, yeah.
Yeah, we usually get a proposal
So that's
on
gonna
that.
go
so-
to what, to 2,000?
It'll be 20, raise it $2,000, be 2650.
2650.
And they will usually include the F-65 filing in there too.
If I could payroll taxes go what now?
Raise it from 3,200 to 4,000, it'll increase by $800. So far we have $2,800 in increases.
If my spread is correct, it was actually 4,519.
Which column, what is it?
It was actually 4,500, but that might be for 5 quarters.
So the next page is road. Are you ready? Do you have any more questions on?
So then
So we have $2,000.
on the bottom of that page, instead of 88,000, we're looking at 90,800.
Yes. And elections, I think will be pretty close at 4,000. We will get reimbursed for the March. So that will help that one. Next, we have the road fund. So the road revenues, we have 1 mil of taxes, approximately 30 million, which, looking at, the paper from Sanilac County, from Trudy Nickel, I just don't think we'll hit the $30,000 mark, so I put 29.5. Interest will be negligible.
Lori, can you tell by that paper from the
You
treasurer
should have one in your packet,
Oh,
if you
okay.
look towards the back.
towards the back of
It's-
what's been collected, you mean?
Yeah, it says 2015 settlement report for Greenleaf Township.
It's really tiny numbers.
Oh, okay.
That's what we just received it, trying to figure out the final numbers for the,
So if you look, it's about halfway down there, Greenleaf operating, Greenleaf Township roads,
Yeah.
Greenleaf Township fire, and before it, it'll have a W for winter taxes or an S for summer taxes.
Okay.
The school on the top are the summer taxes. So if you look at roads and fire, it says 30 million in the original roll. They're not a deduction.
So is our operating budget then less than $1 million?
for the roads.
No.
Yes, it is, it's 0.84. I don't think there's a way to change that, it's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, now road expenditures. What we have is, what we have in our actual account, and what we have coming in. I proposed with the putting $27,000 into cutting 6.1 miles, cutting it back and putting gravel on. Brian, in road mowing, we end up with what we have in our road account now and with our proposed coming in on our taxes for our road millage of, it would be $51,200. What that will leave us out at, by the end of the year, projected for 3/31/17, we'll have $2,111.15 left in the road budget. And that'll get us our normal brining, our normal road mowing, and our, we'll start on repairing our roads. That's approximately 6.1 miles. is what the
Where are you
program-
transferring the additional money from?
Right now, currently in the road checking account, there is $12,744. We have yet to receive for the fiscal year 15, 16, $11,000. And then, we are projecting with the millage on the tax roll for 16, 17 of $29,500. There really shouldn't need to be a transfer from the general fund at this time.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong page, I'm looking at a proposed budget of $51,000, is that
Yeah.
what we're talking
For
about?
expenses,
For
correct.
expenses.
Yeah.
Well, if we were taking care from, we'd probably gain ourselves an extra $10,000 if, we took and had Rooney take and brine our roads. And he, I'm pretty sure it was not last year, 2 years ago, we did one pass. And that brine stayed on longer, a lot better than Wilkerson. Wilkerson charged, what, about $22,000? And Rooney only charged us 12, that's $10,000 right there.
Roney only did one application that year before,
And-
because
And it stayed,
And
well, it was so wet, they couldn't get it on. It was just so rainy that year that they weren't able to get it on the roads.
And that 12,000 is $1,000 less because the county road commission kicks in $1,000. So it was 13 something. And had they done 2 passes, it would have been closer to 25 or 26,000.
but Rooney is local compared to Wilkerson, who's in the pier.
I think we have Brian on the agenda and we will get to that. Right now, we're just figuring out an amount.
Well, you're talking about cutting, we cut $10,000, we're, got an extra $10,000 to work with, right?
Cutting,
The difference between Wilkerson and Rooney.
You're looking at previous years what Rooney's charged, you haven't seen the,
Have you?
yes.
And what's Rooney want to charge?
It was lower that one year because he only did one application, not 2.
it
So
was half a year.
it was only half.
A year.
So this year,
Have you checked with Rooney what his price is going to be for this?
yes, we got,
We do.
We
I
do.
think I have it.
yeah, we,
I don't- Are they in your packet?
Is it in here?
no,
I have a question. Okay, so you have it in here that we're gonna get the 29.5 next year,
Starting December 1st.
starting December 1st. But if we build 6.1 miles of roads this year, won't that money have to be paid this year? It's not gonna be paid next year.
it's part of the 16-17 budget.
But it won't be available to
us until December.
December or January.
Oh, I see.
So that's when the taxes start coming in, that money will be in
So,
for the fiscal
okay,
year.
so whatever road gets built, 6.7 miles, and the bill comes in for that, then and if the county does it, or we'll just say the county's doing it, whatever.
Right,
So then the county is gonna wait till we get our winter taxes in before they
that's
bill?
something we'll have to discuss with the county, but I believe we can have them
They like to zero everything out at the end of the year.
end of the year.
Now, are we gonna have that money in time to,
Well, I don't know where their fiscal year ends.
I think it's December 31st.
it must be December 31st because they wanna zero everything out by then, so.
So I don't know, I mean,
It'll be close, but it's a proposed, I'm trying to make it, get our roads fixed without raising any taxes.
And
I
then an option
understand that,
be to, have that money come out of the general fund and then,
Yeah. We can always
return it.
amend the budget until the money comes in, and then put the money back into the general fund.
Where is this gonna put us next year then? Looks to me like we're just advancing on this.
Why don't we just take and raise the millage up for roads from 1 mil to 3
We
mil?
will get to
have a
that,
problem.
we'll get to that here in a little bit.
well, what my thoughts are, and this is, just a thought, what if, I know our roads have to be done, believe me, I know that, but what if we only did say 4 miles, so that we could cover it with the monies that we know we're gonna have, so that we're not already borrowing against
The following year.
The
No,
following year
we-
before we even have it.
We have the money is in the general fund. We can always amend the budget, move the money from the general fund into the road fund to cover that bill, and then at the end of the year, move it back in, so we're.
But do you wanna keep eating at your general fund?
It will go back in when, after December 31st, before,
I personally would like to see us have a brine millage. It's brine that is,
the Brian is what eats our road budget.
Either a brine village or something to,
Right.
yeah, definitely we have to do something.
And this is my proposal on that. Our fire millage is 1 mil. We basically don't, if you look, we don't
Yeah,
even.
that's way too much.
Right, we don't even use, so everybody's being taxed quite high on that. So, but we have to put it on the ballot. We take our road millage, our fire millage, cut it in half, and then try to get a brine millage for a half a mil also,
or more.
or maybe a little bit more. But basically, our taxes will remain the same out of pocket, it's just where the money's allocated for is different.
If we had 1 mil for, say, gravel patch,
That'd be nice.
and 1 mil for brine,
Yeah,
that would pretty well cover us and get us rolling in the right direction. Now, we could do that by cutting the fire mill to half and adding a mill for brine, and everybody would pay a half a mil extra.
right.
There-
Are you gonna campaign for that?
Yeah.
I think if it's explained to people,
Yeah,
if it's, when we explain it, we've learned, when we explain it, say we're gonna take this half a mil from fire. Then, we're gonna do the road will stay at 1, or go to 1.5, and the grinding will go to a half, or whatever the split would be. And I think if people realize that it's gonna go strictly to the roads, they will
Go for it.
They will go for it.
The problem comes in is the way you explained it, we can't say it that way because it sounds like we're gonna just slide the money over.
Either renew
We gotta
or-
reduce
Right,
the
right.
one, I know what you're saying, but
Right,
we have to
It's gotta be
reduce,
voted on.
we gotta
Yes.
vote on to reduce the fire.
right,
Our fire millage is up for renewal.
Oh, we renew it, but only half
half the mil.
Then it's not a renewal, it's just a new millage.
new millage. But then the other one will be, then we'll have to ask for,
Correct,
Renew
but
and
I
ask for
mean,
the other.
but still, if you explain it to them,
that it's not, their taxes aren't gonna be going up drastically.
Then it's
Right.
a net increase of only half a mil.
no, yeah.
It's all very difficult in the wording how we do it.
I believe
Yeah, I'd
August
ask.
is the deadline for any millages to be on the ballot. So I suggest that we just talk about seriously.
When's the deadline?
August.
August, to get it turned in so it can be on the ballot. So,
I think it'd be better to do that than, if you use the taxes coming, this tax, when you begin the next fiscal year, there will be zero balance in your road fund, and you will have
No,
to
we
Kind
wait
of how the road
till
balance
after
goes, so.
December of 2017
then we
to have
do,
any revenue.
we do have a 10% balance left, and that's all we're supposed to have at the end of the year.
In
It's
the road fund.
$2,011 left. So that's all we're supposed to have at the end of the year.
But so then the following year, there's no money in that fund until the taxes are collected from December to March.
There's actually been a lot of years where that has happened, it's just that all the money was in one checking account, so it never was.
Nobody ever realized it was happening.
And I don't, with the general fund money, I know there's some lawsuits in progress against the township. Are we putting any contingency in there for that?
I think we have to wait till we,
See what happens
See
on
what
that.
happens.
Yeah.
anyway, moving on to the fire revenues.
Mr. Quinn, you got a
This is just a little thing, but I think we should consider putting the ambulance cost in with the fire millage. Rather than making a contribution each year to the ambulance, let it be covered
In the
along with
wording.
fire.
We will have it put in the wording for both.
That's a great idea.
That's a good idea.
If you got excess in that fire, it could pay for ambulance too.
Yep.
That, by the way, should say emergency services, not ambulance.
Is there a way that we can use that fire fund money
Yeah.
for fire runs that we get stuck
Oh, the
with?
fire runs,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
The
We
fire
can do that, right?
Right, yeah, that's actually,
We don't have to
that's,
change
that's where
any
we're taking that out.
That's how we're paying for
That's how
that?
we're covering them, yes, but,
I just
and
didn't know
just,
if it was general.
I had a question at board review from a resident, and I want to explain all this to you. Is that our fire runs now, when the fire department comes out to your property, the bill used to always come to the resident, and then you turn your bill into your insurance company for reimbursement. They've changed that because so many people were taking their bills, or they were getting reimbursed from the insurance company and not paying the fire department. And the fire department was getting codes, covering all these costs. So now what the fire departments are doing is they're billing the township, and then we gotta turn around and bill you, so then you can bill your insurance company. And what's happened with Bingham this last year, they did not send the bills to us until the end of the year. So we did not even know that they had 2 runs charged to the township until the end of the year, and we kinda late to go back after the resident to try to get that at that time. So I gotta speak with Bingham about getting us billed in a prompt manner, and, that's how that's working now. They've changed, the fire departments have changed that on us, so, just to, so nobody they didn't know about it, that's what has changed in the last year and a half, 2 years.
And the fire departments really should know, if they can't bill us, I mean, they bill out in a proper manner. If they can't bill the townships that are involved in a proper manner, then they're out that money, not us. I mean, they shouldn't wait a year, I mean, you're not gonna,
Yeah, one was a car accident and one was a fire run in the township.
I really don't like the way they're doing this now.
No, because it puts us where we have to pay to cover it.
I think we maybe should express that we're not happy with this.
That's
and
why I wanna talk with Bingham
We'll,
about it.
we'll pay our basic coverage, but we aren't gonna go above and beyond and donate fire suits if it's gonna be this way.
Well, that's, what they have to do is work with us. Elkland seems to be pretty prompt about within a month getting us a bill. But Bingham was the end of the year and it was like, didn't
They
expect
just
that.
passed the collection on to somebody else.
Yes, so I just wanted to let all the residents know about that.
Especially after making $10,000 contribution.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I propose so that we, at the end of the year, we're coming out pretty good. We can work at putting millages into a millages at the next meeting. So we have any more about the roads? And I guess
I still don't like this road thing. It looks to me like we're just going into next year's funds now. Unless we've got extra money in the general fund to cover this.
We've got,
I don't like the
way
look
it
of
looks
this.
at our end of the projected for 3/31/17 is 107,000 in our general fund sitting. So we have money to cover it.
As long as we have money to cover it out of the general fund, I'd be okay with it. It looks to
Yeah,
me
but
like we're just,
how do we know what's gonna happen with everything?
well, that's,
I mean, we don't know, I mean, how can we?
We are okay for 1 year, we'll try for a millage and,
Yes.
You can approve it without your millage being passed.
Well,
our millage is passed, it expires at the end of this year, our bills go out December 1st, so
So you already have that 1 mil
we
there?
have
that
one
one mill
more
will be
year to
coming in.
bill.
Yeah, and that will be coming in, so,
But next year we're putting,
right. And then that next year, if we didn't get the millage and stuff, and then we can always change that at that time.
the fire millage can handle, that account can handle a year or two without.
Being approved, yeah, because there's,
Yeah, but probably once it would stop, it'd probably never get put back in either.
that's,
you don't wanna-
that's,
you
yeah,
don't-
you don't wanna completely drop it. Yes.
I've heard from other people, like Greenleaf Township, that they're putting stone on their roads.
Yes.
How much more expensive would that be? Apparently, the roads hold up better. that?
It is quite more expensive.
Quite a bit
I wish Mark did not come. I invited Mark to this meeting also. He would be able to give us cost on that. Limestone, yes, it does, they're saying it does.
Limestone's very expensive.
Yeah.
Over processed gravel.
Buying it's about 2.5 times what gravel is,
Okay.
not counting trucking and all
And
that.
then I also had somebody tell me this week that over a period of time, that's not holding up like they thought it was gonna too.
Well, it'll
Limestone
pulverize.
softer than gravel.
Yeah, it'll break down into powder in time.
And
More dust.
You get a lot more dust from it.
Because basically, if you got good gravel, you're driving on top of the stones.
Yeah, you're talking $14 a ton to $7 a ton.
Better not put twice as much gravel on.
Right, and
I
harder.
hope you get a good grade of gravel.
Well, this proposal of the $27,000 is, been brought, I spoke with the engineer from the county and Mark Dye, and what it is they're gonna cut the shoulders back in and kind of the stones and the gravel that's worked its way out to the edges, and we got those humps, cut those back and bring it to the middle to try to re-arch the road, and then put a layer of gravel over top. Just a nice layer of gravel, and try to build them up there. Some of the spots may need a little more gravel where it's all mushy and stuff, they'll need to build those up a little bit.
If they would learn to cut the roads, the side roads here,
Yep.
and bring all that dirt up on there, would be a help, that water would run off, not the lake.
Not, yeah, it's getting caught on the edges of the road and not running off, and then just create more mud.
The road commissions purchased, I forget how many of them, discs that
Yep.
roll that in.
Yep.
So now every garage is gonna have their own disc to work with, so I expect they'll put them to work.
Yeah, the road just keeps getting narrower and narrower and narrower.
Yeah, they've been using those on the state highways mostly, I've been seeing, they'll come past my place and cut that with that disc. I haven't seen them use it on a side road yet.
Yeah, they use that side road.
Township does.
Sheridan does, yeah, that's Huron
They have
County.
for the last 3 years.
Yeah, Huron County does, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause they cut my road there. And
Now
they
keep
put
in
the-
mind too, if they gravel some of these roads, it might be a little soft and mushy for a year or so.
That first.
I watched the
so this-
road that Austin Township did last year, and they put a heck of a layer of gravel on it. Went in and hit it with chloride, and I thought, man, they're gonna have a good road. This spring, that road was flat out terrible.
Yeah, you gotta get it through a couple frost
It's gonna
cycles.
take a year or so to,
Yeah, sell it in.
So with this plan, cutting the shoulder and adding gravel, how much gravel per mile are you gonna put in for this deal?
Mark had the numbers last.
Had that the last meeting, what was it?
I don't remember
Yeah,
what it was.
how many tons he was talking?
I think 500,
I think
500 tons.
500
Yeah.
was one of the numbers we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, where's this gravel coming
Had,
from?
like gravel patches
Yeah,
towards the back.
towards the back,
Wasn't
and
that
then
other one?
up here, there's, no, that wasn't, that was just gravel patching.
Or over 600.
500 tons per mile. Per mile.
So that's what found the Cassidy Road.
Should be that, isn't
The gravel.
How much is a ton? It's less than a yard.
What's that?
How much is a ton? It's less than a yard. Isn't a yard like
Yeah,
2,800
3,200 pounds per yard,
3,200?
roughly, something like that.
So a ton's only about 2/3 of a yard?
Yeah.
Gravel's expensive.
it? What they put on last year compared to what Huron County put on last year
23 right there.
is about a third of what Huron County put on last year.
Now, there's different pits they haul out of. Does anybody know which pack?
Sanilac County was grabbing over there by Billy Holtz's there on, right across from the Fox Centers. Huron County has,
But that's a different township comes out of there.
what's that?
That's a different township hauls out of there. Or county.
Sanilac County was hauling out of there.
Right,
Yeah, but
for a different township.
Yes.
Right, for different townships. right?
They haul out of Kurt Brewski's down here,
Right,
and then when they did part of my mile last fall bad and told Mark about it, well, the guy running the truck, he said, I'm gonna get you a couple loads. I said, well, it won't take you long to run over Kurt's and get it. He said, no, I gotta get all brakes. And they're right here, 3 miles away. you know, insane gravel.
I know, just, what the hell's wrong here? What's wrong with this picture here?
You can choose where you want your gravel to come from. I was just wondering if anyone.
They did on it, yeah.
If anyone, Mark showed me a sheet.
Mark showed me last week, I
Price,
told him,
what it costs out of each pit. And you can take your pick of what you want. I was just wondering if anyone knew which gravel would pack the best.
What are
they tested.
What are they
State tested
spec'ing?
should be all the same.
Is it 21 AA? Is that what they're spec'ing or what is
In
it?
your packet,
23, I think it
It's in,
is.
it's in,
23A?
it's in here.
he had the gravel patching. I gave you a copy of it, you had one.
From today?
I'm sorry, you don't.
It's, yeah, you guys don't, it's just, I don't even have it.
It's 22-A at 793.
22 AA?
It says original, just A.
Just 22A.
22A. From the Atwater Road pit.
Atwater Road pit would be,
Where's
Here on
Atwater?
county.
There ain't, the other ones are told stuff. They're
oh, Atwater Road pit would be,
Alpines,
by the church, behind the church.
Alpines, west of the church. West of the church, I think a mile and a half, and then back to the north just a little bit. Just like Alpines.
Yeah.
That's not that far, but still.
Why would
That's
you
just-
choose gravel right here in the township?
Yeah, why come out here in county when gravel from Sanilac County?
Depending on what the Alpines sells, they were two of them.
Well, Mark showed me it was about $8 a ton over here. Sure.
That hurts. Maybe they were giving, maybe McAlpine was 50 cents.
793 a
You
ton.
know,
793, you're right, yeah.
Your time and your gas.
Cost you more to truck it from there than you're saving.
that's all in trucking, everything's all involved.
It's all in that price, the trucking.
Well, this is a price, all right, this is a price, everything.
Well, truck at 793.
793.
Oh, okay.
That's trucking and all.
But if Kurt's is 8, I just assume,
If it's close, yes, yeah. If it's not-
it just makes more sense to me to have it right here.
Yep, yeah, more it'd get done faster.
Wasn't you saying, Ken, that Kurt's gravel pack's nice? I mean,
Much as I've hauled out, I've never had any problem with anybody.
you know, it makes a big difference
Instead
how
of
much,
all the way down to Albright from 46.
makes a difference how much clay and sand
Right.
and whatnot's in this too.
Overall mix.
Okay, we're at it.
Let's get back onto getting this done. Okay. All right, we're gonna close the public budget hearing.
Can I just make one more comment informationally? The liquor law is not a separate fund, those funds are in the general fund. There's no separate account for those monies.
It's a separate fund, but the money is in the general checking account.
Okay, it's a separate account for this.
What
It's a
do
separate
we,
fund.
what do we use that for?
We've been meeting to clean that off our books.
The
The
only
last
thing,
time the auditor was here, that's what she said, it needed to be cleaned
the
up.
only thing you can use it for at this point in time is education. That's what they told me.
Well, it can go to, we can give it to the sheriff's department for liquor control, for their teaching, education on the liquor,
DARE program,
what's that?
the DARE program.
Yes, that kind of stuff, yes. Whatever, well,
Can it go to
basically.
our
Sure
education?
can, go to your teachers. Go to your teachers.
It could go to the schools,
Yep,
as long as it's used for alcohol
education.
education.
Oh, it has to be, oh, so could we put like into like one of our funds, like one of our education funds that we have for training?
No,
No, that's,
it'd have to go to the
School
school
or
for like a
sheriff or-
specific program for drug and alcohol, you know. So we need to get that off the books, because we don't actually bring anything in. So it's just been sitting stagnant for years on our books.
Still, we can still leave. We should just leave it
Hey,
there.
well, there's person talking,
We
please.
should still, we're talking about the liquor law, right?
right.
We should still leave it there, it's not hurting nothing. Okay, if we, let's say, Sadusky of the wants a little help with a, drug task force program or something of that nature. We could use that up that way.
We could,
These-
yes.
These loans, it's not hurting nothing, right? Not hurting a thing, is it?
No, but it's just easier for when
It's not costing us nothing, is it?
2 years ago when there was the audit, she said we need to get that off her books, the auditor. Okay. Any more comments? Okay, we're gonna close the public budget hearing meeting and reopen the annual meeting, township annual meeting. Now we need to amend our 15-16 budget.
With you closing it, does that mean that that road budget is passed?
No,
No, oh, okay.
not as of yet.
Okay.
This one here,
Just the
single paper.
This one. Got it.
Okay. So column C, we approved some amendments at our regular meeting on March 17th. In the past, what we have done is just make amendments to our revenues so that our actual matched our budget. So those are proposed there. And then, also down in expenditures, there's just a few minor adjustments after checks were cut that we did go over on three items. And that's all on column D. Column E is what was actually received or spent for the fiscal year. And column F is what was originally proposed. Or is the proposed end budget, excuse me. With all the adjustments. I really didn't know how to handle the taxes that were collected but not received, so I just made an extra. So that everyone's aware that they're.
You understand what that is?
Which one?
Right here, what that is the stuff coming in that it's been collected by the county, but that we have not received the check from the county yet.
Okay. So the administrative fee, explain that.
That's the 1% fee that you pay in addition to your winter and summer taxes.
Right. How much have we lost from the administrative fee by having
I
some
don't
dusty?
know what she's billing us, to be honest with you, but
It's not on here.
so far what she's collected
Oh,
is
yeah,
on that
she's got
sheet.
a adjustments down 30.
Probably, even at the cost share of tax, we probably lost about $4,000.
Guessing
And I'd probably be pretty damn close.
4 or 5, I would
Yep.
say.
That's what we lost.
So what they collected, it says, was 4,322.
Yeah. And our original roll is 5,000, so.
So I move that we accept the proposed amendments to the 15-16 budget.
I'll second that. Yes, Jim?
I just wanted to make a note that our legal fees did go up appreciably.
Yes, we know that.
I just wanted to bring that to our attention,
Okay.
even though you know it.
So the amount for the treasurer's office is down just because we haven't had a treasurer?
We haven't done payroll on the treasurer's side.
Okay.
And also the expenses that we normally would have incurred sending out the tax bills for the winter ourselves has been,
So that'll,
not been incurred by the township, but by the county will pay it now.
basically still paying for the treasurer, it's just only different there.
That's not the amount we're gonna pay going forward, that's just what we ended up
Just
with.
to end our
This is
budget
the
for
close-
this year.
The closing statement.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure would help.
Trying to make it look like we did a really good job doing the budget.
The emergency service, that's fire and ambulance?
But
It's only ambulance.
That's just ambulance.
Fire is a separate fund.
motion's on the floor. Yes.
Calling for vote now?
Yeah. I just wanna make sure you're ready, no,
Yeah.
not trying to.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to amend the 15-16 proposed budget, or amendments. I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the Headley rollback.
It's easiest if we just read the first minutes.
We got that. This is, last year minute, and look at the Headley rollback. We have to do, it's a requirement.
I move that we override the Hadley amendment and roll back for operations.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We also have to, I'll make a motion that we do the rollback on the fires, or fire. You wanna rephrase that at all? I put a motion on the floor to override the Headley amendment and roll back for the fire.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
You wanna, anybody else wanna put one out there? To I put out there to override the Headley amendment and roll back for the roads.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're back onto approving the budget as we were reading it, or
Those can be amended as we go.
You want now, right?
Back to the.
Back to the-
multi-page
the
general.
proposed budget?
That one?
No, this,
Well, it is, but.
That's part of it.
that's part of it, yeah, I guess, yeah.
For 16-17?
Yes, 16, 17.
Alright, I got it.
So far, the changes to the general, the revenue, we did not make any proposed changes. The expenditures, line item 9 in the general, raised at $2,000 to $2,650, and line item 11 raised $800 to $4,000, and brings the ending amount on line 31 to $90,800. Road revenues, we didn't really make any adjustments, there was a lot of discussion, and then fire revenues and expenditures, no changes there either. I'm comfortable with it as is, realizing that we do need to do something to, work with the brine costs, you know, with the millage or something going forward. And I would like to see something on the ballot for that in the fall.
But we are talking about increasing what we're spending on roads, right?
Yes,
Yes,
we are.
correct. Yes.
And we do have a very favorable fund balance, currently of $95,000, which is, you know, about a year's worth of revenue.
This way we can get moving on our roads and start getting our roads done before we put, you know, without trying to get our mills. This year we can get going at the roads and go after, and start trying to get our millage, a little bit of a millage, get that all taken care of and straightened up.
Well, I understand it, it's just, I think Lori just made the statement that we weren't really doing much different with the roads, but we really are. I'm just trying to clarify.
Right, we're working out of the road fund, so we can, that's all we have. We're not taking money out of the general fund to do the roads, is what we're saying. It's just all coming out of the road fund.
But it looks to me like we're taking an advance on next year's funds.
A little, just a couple months, where we can.
Okay, but do we have the extra funds here to cover that?
That would be, come out of the general fund, would have to move from general fund into road fund, and then once the road funds got replenished, we can move it back into the general fund, and we got $107,000 left there.
But what happens if we have to spend some of that money on lawyer fees and we don't have it in the general fund and we do the roads, and then we don't have the money to pay the county?
That's what I'm worried about.
What happens then?
Now, last year we budgeted $2,000 for legal fees.
We went over on that.
100%.
Yeah, this year we're budgeting $3,000. Where are we gonna go?
Where are we at with our township lawyer? Is he active on anything right now?
No, not right. Shut off.
Who's responding to that lawsuit?
We are,
Must be involved there, isn't
as of right now, he's taken a couple phone calls on it, and it's at the insurance company right now. So that's where that's at.
he? What insurance company?
We do have some liability coverage with our liability for the township, so they're looking at that.
You do?
Yep. So,
When did that go into place?
it's just been part of that.
I thought that liability was
It-
for,
It's not a big, and they're gonna look at it, it's depending on what it is, they may cover it, and they may not. Depending on what it is. And they're
How
looking
much
at that.
coverage is there?
I did not get the final numbers, they have not called back yet, I'm waiting for that call.
Can you bring it to the next meeting?
At the next meeting, yes, but,
Has the toner suit been settled?
as of, with the tower, yes. As last I spoke with him, he was going to speak with the attorney, that's supposed to be,
So there'll be no hearing in July, I
July.
think it was,
No.
that is gone.
that's done. The
We don't
township,
have to
the
take that off
township,
our calendar.
we went back and we did what he asked, to do the steps properly.
Okay, so we no longer have
Yeah, so
July and August trial and hearing.
Correct.
Okay,
Did
that's
he-
done.
Did he expect the township to pay for his attorney, or did he cover that out of his own?
I believe he's covering that out of his own pocket, so.
Okay.
So he's just, his thing is making sure the township does the steps, and all the steps are handled correctly. That was the big thing on there, so.
Have we budgeted for the possibility of professional liability insurance if we could procure it? Because the township sure needs
Yeah.
Liability, is that in our budget?
I don't think anybody would take this right now.
Yeah,
We got turned down, won't it?
yeah, we got turned down. It'll probably take a couple years of us having no issues.
I would still think we should put it in our budget as something we would be pursuing.
Yes, well, we'll
Doesn't have to be in this year's budget.
budget, no, it'll probably start next year. So,
We'll
Is
get
there
things
a-
cleared up to
and
get any
budgets can always
insurance
be
this year, I'll
amended as we
guarantee
go.
you that.
Also.
Is there money in the elections,
yes,
budget for the recall in May?
Yes.
Recall?
yes, I figured in there.
Also treasurer election.
And treasury bills.
Yes.
Line 23, were you going to move those emergency services to the fire fund?
No, we are not allowed to do that.
That's illegal.
But that's what Jerry was kind of talking about, no?
No, we gotta do that with voting on our millages to,
He was worried about the wording for the ballot, for the next one. So I believe we're going to do these one by one and probably roll call vote. Is there any changes that you would like to make?
Are you voting on the general fund or all funds?
we'll do them all three individually.
So this is the general fund?
Well, I move that we accept the proposed general fund budget for 2016-2017 with the noted changes of raising the auditing accountant line by $2,000 and raising the FICA payroll tax line by $800, bringing our ending balance of expenditures to proposed of $90,800 with expected revenues of $97,000.
Our expected revenue is 97,000, our proposed budget's 90,800.
About a 10% carryover is what we should be at, just roughly.
So is the- is the-
4,500 of that is contingency fund also.
Are the unplanned expenses then changing the contingency amount? If you got 90,800 proposed spending and 97,000 proposed revenue, is the difference in the contingency fund?
I'm not sure I follow. We have less expenses than proposed revenue, so we should be okay.
So you're not making the two balanced expenditure?
No.
So we have a motion on the floor to approve the general fund balance, or general fund budget of 16-17 of $90,800. I'll second that.
That was just the expenses you said, the revenues were in there also.
And the revenues,
I
revenues
move
of,
to approve the whole proposed budget for the general.
okay, the whole proposal, okay.
I'd like to ask Bernadette, Bernadette, are you saying that you would like to see the contingency fund equal the difference in those
Well,
two?
generally, you balance these two numbers on a budget, and what they do with the things that you don't have a planned expenditure is they put them in a contingency fund. I'm not sure how the township utilizes that category. But so generally, when I've seen budgets, what you have is numbers that match, but the amount that's left over that isn't planned for expenditure is the catch-all and the contingency.
It's a catch-all, it's a catch-all. So
So
our legal fees go a little bit higher, we can take it out
So
of that
that's
fund.
kind of the unplanned
You're right.
amount, and usually
So
that
that-
revenue
About a
and the
60.
expenditure budget's balanced then, because you use that to show that you have some money there.
What you're saying, take the 6,200 difference and add it into the contingency?
Well, I don't know, I didn't do the calculation for what the difference is, I was saying the difference between the two, I thought
It would be 60.
would be in the contingency. I don't know what that 4,500 is for. Is that,
We always
where that came
figured
from?
about 5,000 in a contingency fund.
Last year, and
So we could add 6,200 to that 4,500?
Well, that 4,500, the 6,200 might include that 4,500, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Well, I think
I don't
we-
think it matters if we add 6,200 to that or not, we can if that's what you care to do. It's,
the 6,200's actually been just added to our actual line items. The actual. 6,800, I'm sorry.
You feel better with matching. I would be more concerned if the expenses were more than revenues,
Yeah.
but they're not, so there's already 4,500 in contingency, and we're just reserving a fund balance, I guess.
But that 6,200 is basically the same thing, it's
As a
contingency.
fund balance, yes.
I think let's put it in that line item,
In contingency.
yeah,
I think it would be better to keep track of it that way.
yeah, because that would bring that line item to 10,700, and then it would match our revenue. Then it's all accounted for, I guess.
Let me restate, I am going to withdraw my first motion,
Okay, so we have to vote on that.
and I propose that we approve, we approve the proposed general budget revenues and expenses for 2016-17 fiscal year with the changes of adding $2,000 to line 9 for a total of $2,650, $800 to line 11 for a total of $4,000, and $6,200 to line item 30. That would bring our proposed expenses to $97,000, matching our proposed revenues of $97,000.
I second that.
I gotta read.
I think we should do a roll call.
Okay, you wanna repeat how you?
No.
I was still doing math, I'm sorry.
We got it,
You guys are, I was doing math, so
we got it. Are the numbers right? Did you double check it?
I didn't go through that much of it, I just trying to do my just as end balance, so.
Yes, we're
90
at 90,800.
Yep. So my 9,700 came out the same, so.
Okay, 97,000. All right,
Yes.
All in favor?
I-
Well, I guess it's a roll call. Ken?
Aye.
Randy?
aye.
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 Okay, that was the general.
General,
Roads? We came out with, when we are done this year, and then there'll be 2,111.15 left in the road budget at the end of the 17 year. And that'll get us be able to get started on some roads. Any discussion on this, Ken?
I still don't understand. I think you're grabbing next year's funds to use now, is what I see happening here.
Our budget road, our fiscal year is different than the counties, that's, but our
Our
budget
fiscal year ends
This month.
this month,
Mhm.
counties ends in December.
December.
I'm pretty sure, because they were calling,
What have we got to work with now here?
Okay. So when we come down at it, we'll have to maybe, depending on when the county bills us, we may have to do an amendment to our budget and move few $1,000s, $2,000 or $3,000 from the general fund over to the road fund to cover that check. And then once our taxes come in, after the first of the year, when we start getting our tax rolls, our tax comes in, then we'll have to move that money back into the general fund.
How many dollars are we talking, and is it gonna be there?
Well, as of right now, our proposed is $107,252.
Lori, on
After
this,
you sign these last few checks, there'll be 95,928 in the checking right now, to start the next year.
To start the next year, which we should only be, that's way more than 10%, we should. So it should be over 10% of our operating.
A lot of times we're on 15, 20%.
is that according to the MTA that we're only supposed to have in 10%?
That's just general rule of thumb, the schools run using the money, so
The township should provide services for the money that they collect.
Right,
Otherwise,
right,
why
okay,
collect it?
okay.
right,
There's
so
money there.
So we're collecting money on fire stuff that we're not using, and we got this big balance, then we're giving money to the fire departments for fire suits. So that's, we're basically, we're trying to bring that down, and then it's, be able to get money for something else.
I understand.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an adjusted budget to expend money from the general funds on this. You could simply spend money out of the general fund on road
Road,
repair.
yes, we could do
Without
that.
transferring it to, there's no reason to transfer it
We don't have to
the
do
road
that,
fund.
Bernadette, no, but,
So you don't have to have the budget be this much, you can just leave the budget for what's actually the revenue in that fund, and you can expend money out of the general fund for
Fund to
road
roads,
repair if you
yes.
want, as you get a proposal for something.
but I was trying to keep,
Actually, you shouldn't transfer the money into the road fund, because the road fund is a categorical count, you don't need to put it there.
we don't, yeah. But my goal was to try to keep it within what our funds were coming in.
Oh, doesn't make any difference, that's like Bernard said.
Yeah, it doesn't
All
matter.
I gotta do is write a check out of the general fund to cover,
Right.
Cover,
pay for
right.
the road, that's
Right.
all, pure and simple, you don't have to transfer.
You don't have to transfer it, but I was just
The
trying,
road budget should cover the money that's in the categorical
Yeah.
fund, not money from the
Right.
general.
that way we stay level, we're not,
You need, write the damn check.
So what do we got in the road fund right now?
$12,744.99.
What's that over and under 21,000 something?
If 51,000 is spent for road services, that's more than 29,500.
But you're anticipating taxes from this tax year, from the 2000 tax year of $11,000. So you actually
It's already
essentially should have
collected, but it just hasn't been,
$23,000.
it hasn't been sent to the township yet, it's already collected.
it's collected.
So very shortly, there'll be almost $24,000
Right.
in the checking account.
Understand that, and some of that is because of money we're still waiting for from the county.
So possibly the proposed budget expenditure should be $24,000.
23.8. It's what we will actually have to work with this year.
Which is gonna be the
We're
bottom.
not doing it any different than any other year, it's just that our checking accounts are separate now, so you know that it's coming out. There's been many years where the road fund has been depleted and we still.
We just came out of general fund.
The road fund pretty much gets depleted every year.
Yeah, I know that.
And sometimes it goes over and then we come out of, it comes out of general fund, it just, nobody ever realized it because it was all in one big checking account. Now that it's separated, it's tracked easier.
We can amend this as we go if you prefer to just do a pay for it out of the general fund and not out of the road funds.
think I'd rather wait until we get a little further down
We need
the
a
road.
budget.
We need, yeah, we need a budget.
So make a suggested change.
We've got 24,000.
Proposing to spend 51,000.
Yeah, because there's what's left and then what we're, that's coming in this next year. You take what we have coming in, what we.
That won't come in until 2017.
Not all of it.
A lot of people pay
Before the end of the year. So a lot of it will be in before the end of the year. About half of it will be in before December 31st.
So what I'm saying is, where's this gonna leave us next year? It looks to me like we're robbing next year's funds to do this year's work. Where's this gonna leave us next year?
Next year, you'll have the remainder 2,000 plus the millage coming in.
If you can get a millage
If we
passed.
can get the millage passed.
Right.
If,
You can't tell me you don't
if
do
that,
gravel.
I know that, but I'm just saying, we gotta be able to pay for this too. If that millage would pass, we'd be all right. If we go forward with pursuing that, we would be all right next year. But it looks to me, if that doesn't, we've just robbed next year's funds for this year.
Well, we didn't rob next year's funds by no means, because that's what you'll have to work on next year's budget. We'll have to look at that. If we don't have the villages passed in the fall, then we'll have to adjust next year's proposed budget, not this year's. This is this year's proposed budget, not next year's.
Just another question that's probably superfluous. If the planning commission is supposed to start planning roads, how many miles of roads can they start planning?
Can
they start planning next month when they meet? 6.1
Miles,
miles of roads to be built. They can start planning that right now.
And that's their job to figure out which roads are in the worst shape.
But they can start planning that right now. They don't have to wait.
Right. Yep. If this gets approved, if this passes, that'll be their job to say, hey, this road here is the worst. You know, I put a suggestion in at the last meeting that Gilbert Road gets done first, because it comes in the hall, everybody uses it. Two is it's in very poor shape. And then maybe take some of that money and do a repair on Robinson Road where it's really bad, and then over on Cedar Road, there's a pretty bad spot, I guess, in
So
Cedar.
people in the community could start communicating
With
with
the
the planning commission
now to see what roads
which
they would
roads
like to
they
do.
want done.
Correct.
They can communicate.
That
I'd
would
like to
be,
see Cumber Road between Germania and Matt Anthony's gravel.
yeah, see, there's gonna be a probably 100 miles that everybody will want done, but we only can do so much. So that'll be their job to figure that out. Yes, Mr. Clinton.
Are you reserving yay and nay privileges for the board, or you're turning this over entirely to the planning commission, including the budget?
We will, what we're doing is just turning it over to the planning commission on the roads, and they'll have that budget to work with.
Okay, so you're not asking them to
Even
recommend?
though, we can even, technically, I believe, we have to just set the amount for brine, and they can pick who they want for putting brine on too, and deal with that.
Unless the board reserves yay and nay privileges.
That's correct.
You can reserve the final say for the board of trustees. Otherwise, if you don't do that, then it's entirely their decision.
Right.
Don't you need a motion to turn that responsibility over to the planning commission?
No.
The way I read it, that is technically their job to plan and do that research.
See, we've never done that before.
We never, but when I started reading the state books, that's the way it's supposed to have been done for years and years.
But they need to be given a list of their responsibilities, because you can't just pie in the sky.
There's books.
Especially if you're going to change them. But
The books.
Keith never got
Can
a
I
book.
slip out and make a quick phone call?
You know, Keith never got a book like that.
Yeah.
So he's out in the road someplace.
I gotta
Right,
use the
they're,
restroom. Let's take a 5-minute break.
Okay, but I guess take a 5-minute break. But yeah, there's books out there.
The township,
some of the trustees did buy some of the newer ones coming out.
No.
They've never done it. They're also gonna do is, just keep on the
He's on the, he's chairman of the planning.
yes, no, I'm asking Lori a question. No, on the MTA.
He has to go on
Okay, what he has to do is go on to the MTA website, request to get on, and then he can order the book and everything there.
Well, Becky doesn't need to.
I don't think so. You try to get on the MTA, they want to know your numbers and, you know, all this stuff.
Well, he's got to log himself in.
No, if you go to where to log in, and underneath that it says, do you need to register? There's like an email, just email the
Is
person
he going to be
and say,
charged for that?
the township.
The book will come and then the bill will come to the township.
Okay.
You can check bill the township.
My computer's there in the door now.
Maybe, so under where you log in, there's an email, just send them an email and say, I want access to it. It's a really nice website, they've got all kinds of answers.
When we got a question, that's where we go, that's going on, what's wrong. That's Michigan Township Association.
Toilet's back up, you better get up. See you on your plumber group.
They know that. I need his email.
Yeah, one way that he can access.
Mine's okay?
They just need an email. Yeah, they just need to know that it's for and they have a list of our archives. It's been on
So that's what's going on. So did you get all your stuff yesterday?
Jerry, did you bring your tow truck? Bring the tow truck? Could have used it out there on Cedar Road, or at Spencer.
Get the tractor out of there.
See, Isaac?
What's the other? What, straight over?
Oh, it's a mess.
Oh, is it?
There's a mud bog last night.
Right.
Went over today.
Suppose you just supposed to kind of say.
Yeah.
So you guys are all. You like that card?
She must have something to read.
My brothers are there, yeah, they got a big front end assist tractor stuck in there. They got a big quad track coming to pull that tractor.
It's a revenue in here.
That's where the money they have.
March.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Okay.
You're okay?
Everything should be on its own.
Alright.
Tell her we're going to start back up.
She won't do that. But she's so busy.
Then are you off? Are you off now for Sunday and Monday?
Yeah. Not Monday.
Then you gotta go back here Monday.
Monday.
Awesome.
Don't get too many days off. So basically, if we pass this proposed budget, we can do some tweaking on it later if we need.
All right,
But if we
we're calling
pass
it.
this, we have to spend that on those roads, don't we?
No. The only thing we have to spend on the road is our road millage that comes in that amount. We have to spend.
I just don't wanna be tied into something we can't afford.
Right.
So if we can tweak it at a later date, I'd be okay
our,
with the proposal.
our road millage we have to put to the roads, but anything above that,
But how is this gonna work? If we pass this,
but
and down the road, are we still gonna vote them to have the county go ahead?
So that you can say you have
We're gonna discuss this at a meeting before we call the road commission and tell them to.
well,
Before we ever sign anything.
we're approving the amount for right now.
Alright.
When the planning commission says we're gonna do, maybe they'll decide it's only this first year to do, say, Gilbert Road. Then it's only gonna be what's the total length of Gilbert, 3-4 miles?
Something like that.
They may not put as much if they only do Gilbert Road this year. Or by the time they figure Gilbert Road and some patching, it may not come into this amount, but they have that amount to work with.
How
Yeah,
about
but if we don't reserve the right to say nay, they can go ahead and spend that total amount.
I believe you're right. So let's reserve the right.
We should reserve the right to yea or nay
Maybe it's the total one.
until we see where some of these other expenses are.
Because even if they discuss it at the next meeting, by the time they get with Mark, nothing's gonna really start happening until July or anything where they start actually spending any of that money.
That's usually when they do the gravel patch in July or August.
Yes. So then by that time, we'll be in a little better shape to know which way we wanna go.
And you would be signing the contract for this, right?
Yeah.
Well, the planning commission will come to this board will sign. Because it's,
Good.
yes, it's just, they make the decision of how the work gets done. That's the planning, they plan for our township.
Actually, we all sign
Yeah.
this whole board.
This whole board signs it, everybody up here.
So you are reserving yea and nay privileges?
Yes, we're reserving the yea and nay on this.
Mostly because I have to research that. I don't want to lose it. Are you proposing any changes?
As long as we can, like you said, like we just discussed, as long as we could just kind of play it by ear a little bit down the road.
Okay. Put a motion on the floor to adopt the proposed road budget for 16-17 with the option for the board to say yea and nay on the amount after the planning commission gives us the amounts of $51,200 to be, and with a projected budget, end budget of, on 3/31/17 of $2,111.15. Second.
I'll second that.
Well, I guess, I say yea. Yeah. Randy? Lori? Now we're gonna move, you need time to write that down. Now we need to move to our fire revenues. Our proposed fire budget, 16-17, it's pretty simple. It's basically, we've been collecting 1 mil, and it basically will remain the same as it has in the past. We only have two real expenditures on it, is the fire runs for Upland or our standby service for Upland Fire Department, and standby service for Bingham Township Fire Department. So our total on that at the end, our expenditures will be approximately 16.8. Our expenditures are expected to be $16,800. With that all done, when it comes out, our projected balance for, at the end of 3/31/17 is $100,904.88. So we do have a lot of money in that fund sitting that we can only use for fire education and fire protection. Oh, no education on that one? Okay. So, fire protection, so.
Make a motion to accept the 2016-17 fire budget, revenue and expenditures as presented.
I'll second that. I second that, and then roll call vote. Ken?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Me, aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. That's carried. Okay, kind of just got a note in there, we kind of brought up the Brian a little bit, and then the GS mapping. GIS mapping, we've discussed multiple times, so,
I don't have it in the packet.
Yeah.
I believe it was 948. I didn't go grab it for myself, but I'm pretty sure it was 948. Everything else in your packet is just, like the Bryan proposals and the county proposals. Information.
where's some of those supposed to be put over? Okay, as requested, we went and got, called all three Bryan companies and asked for the percentages and a little more info. I asked for their hazardous classifications and some of the other tests, because there's difference between calcium chloride and brine or sodium chloride. And basically sodium chloride is a hazardous material. And then they're supposed to have tests done on their wells for carcinogens. And if they don't have those tests, we don't know if their carcinogen levels are too high. As we put it on the road, then we are actually contaminating our own water, we're contaminating the wildlife in our area, stuff like that. There's supposed to be limits on that.
Excuse me, didn't you just say you turn this over to the planning commission for decision?
Well, we're just discussing because it was asked to be brought up at the last meeting, okay? So we're discussing it at this meeting because this is our next meeting. So we got some of this together for the Michigan Chloride sent information, and Wilkinson's Corporation sent information back, but I did not receive anything from Rooney's. So we don't know where Rooney sets with their percentage levels and stuff like that. So we can turn all this, if we care to the planning commission, they can review it, and stuff. We got the money allocated roughly in our budget for Bryan. It's just now they're going to review it and say, you know, what's going to be the best for our township and our people. And I would like to see some of the same numbers. The more I read about Bryan, I did know some about it because my family being in the road commission, but, you know, for years in Huron County, I know there was a lot into it. And sitting down doing some reading in the last week when I've been sick, I find there's a lot of, especially with the sodium chloride, there's a lot of actual possibilities of contaminations to our soil. So.
Who has the sodium chloride?
Rooney and Michigan Chloride. Calcium chloride is done a lot differently. They pump water out of a well into a holding pond with a bladder, and then they mix the calcium in there and mix it so they can keep a constant pH.
I thought you said Rooney didn't respond. How'd you get the sodium?
the soda, calcium is Wilkinson.
Right.
I've got-
She just asked who's got the sodium, he said Rudy's never replied.
No, they gave us a budget, but I asked for, remember you asked for the percentage content?
Right.
They never got back with me on that, and this is what Michigan Chloride sent to us for information, your lab analysis. And I never got none of that back from Rooney.
That's what I'm saying, you didn't get nothing from Rooney, but then you said Rooney's thing, that's Michigan
Well,
Chloride.
that's Michigan Chloride, yeah. Okay. So I did get an analysis sheet like this back from Rooney. So we'll turn over that all over to the planning commission to work on.
This is superfluous, but again, sodium chloride is just plain table salt. Is it about the concentration of the sodium chloride?
That's, yeah, the percentage, and then also when they're pumping that out, there's, what I was reading about it, there's carcinogens in there, which is
Other things other than the
sodium
sodium
that,
chloride?
as they pump it out of the ground.
You're talking about other chemicals.
Contaminants, yes. And then when they put that on, so that they're supposed to be testing that continuously to know that they're not contaminating our soils when they're
It's
putting it out.
not necessarily the sodium chloride, it's other,
Stuff that comes up when they pump it out of the ground, because it's not controlled. Where the calcium chloride, they have a big
like farm chemicals and things like
Right.
that.
come back up, yes, but in calcium chloride, they got a big holding pond with a bladder, and they mix it and they can keep it consistent to what they're putting on the road. It's more consistent that way. And another thing about calcium chloride, it's non-hazardous. They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be tested by the state or anything, because it's non-hazardous to anybody.
Yeah, but if you look through this information, Michigan Chloride sales, their product has more calcium chloride in it than Wilkinson's does.
The calcium chloride is supposed to be the safe,
Yeah,
Right.
and the
What
sodium.
did Mark say about numbers, higher the better, or something, what was it?
Lower the better.
Or lower the better?
Lower the better.
What do you gotta be, where do you gotta be to be considered a chloride, a calcium chloride well, though? I mean,
calcium chloride is, they just, sodium chloride is out of brine, it's salt water on the ground.
right.
Calcium chloride, they pump water out of the ground into a holding, you ever go by Wilkinson's?
Yeah, they got a big pond.
They got the pond over line, and then what they do is they pump the water in there, they put the chemical in there, and they mix it, and then they put it into the trucks and all of that.
It's kind of like if you have an oil spill, that's hazardous, but you can mix it with gravel and make asphalt.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
Wilkinson's is 20% calcium, and Michigan Chloride's 26% calcium.
If the contaminants are in the water, not the
Yeah.
sodium chloride, just by pumping the water out of the ground, they add it into the.
yeah, but also wells are, your wells are tested, the water's tested out of your wells. You know, you're not pumping brine, it's actually water, palatable water coming up.
You know, at some point, if we continue using sodium chloride, we're going to have to start lining the ditches with clay, particularly close to the rivers, because the clay will absorb the salt, and the salt won't get into the groundwater that way.
Oh, on sodium.
On sodium chloride.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's true on calcium
I
chloride.
believe.
I don't think it's a problem, but on the sodium chloride, that is a problem, and that's the solution to it.
I have not read about that yet. Can't comment either way. So that'll be stuff for the planning commission to look at and talk about, to what's gonna be the best for everybody.
But it's still gonna be up to the board. Once the planning commission gives their recommendations, the board will.
We can put,
Yeah, and any option.
we already put that on the amounts, yes.
Well, I think,
They have final say on who we use.
why all of a sudden is the planning commission having all the final say on everything?
Is if you go back and read how a township's supposed to work, that's,
But this township was for what, 100 years old, 100 and
Yes.
some odd years old? Has the planning commission, I mean, I know they've given recommendations, but Judy, has the planning commission ever made most of the decisions? Hasn't it always been the board? What?
There is a new planning commission enabling act though, that gives much of this authority to the planning commission.
Yes.
So that's,
See, we,
that's
If the
fairly
board
new.
wants it
No, no,
no, that's, I agree with Mr. Cleveland on that. It's always been, it just, we've never adopted it. You know, we've always just kind of gone the way it was years and years ago. We've never progressed
So
with the
why
change of
all of a
times.
sudden are you wanting to adopt it when everything we've always done in the past has worked? And now all of a sudden,
Because
you wanna take the responsibility out of the board. We elected the board for these decisions. We didn't elect the planning commission, we elected the board to make decisions, not planning commission members.
this is the
You
way,
appointed the planning commission members.
this is the way the state says it needs, is set up. This is the way the state wants it operated. And years and years ago, this is the way it was the board pretty much did everything. Then there was the Planning and Zoning Enabling Act, which allows that board to discuss it. We do the final say of financials, yes. But they are to go out and figure all these things out, bring the numbers to this board.
basically make a recommendation.
Right, so now instead of 5 people making
Recommendation, he's saying decision. There's a difference between recommending something, Jerry, there is a difference between recommending something and a decision, am I right?
But I think there's one thing in here that you're not understanding, and it's our fault for not making it clear. When we talk about yay and A and nay privileges, okay, if they're not happy with what the planning commission recommends,
They can nay it,
they,
yes.
right.
but they can't change it. They can only send it back to the planning commission again. Yay and nay privileges do not give you the privilege of changing that recommendation.
See this, now Judy, what this does is involve more of the community into the final decisions of what's going on.
So are you gonna pay your, okay, then if that's the case then, are you gonna pay your planning commission people more and you guys less because you're not doing everything that you were always doing? I mean, if the responsibility is gonna be put on planning commission people, and they get what, $75 a meeting? Are they gonna be compensated for, their extra time, their extra research?
That's something we will have to address, yes. I can see your point, and yes, we will have to address that.
There is an enabling act that says we have to do it this way. That's why.
Yeah, I know, but so
Right.
then is
We
the,
have to.
Well, we have to do it, but now
We don't say it does it for us.
Right.
That's the difference.
do we, now we gotta come up with a decision as a community. Do we want to pay these people more? And that'll be a decision we'll have to come up with.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, I understand.
we'll have to put a value on it, you know.
Okay, I understand.
You understand that?
Yep, I understand.
The way it works is, we really need to retain that yea or nay decision, because
Of
the
the
planning commission, they're appointed, and technically they can't make the financial decisions because they're appointed. Elected people make the decisions, so that it still needs to be the final say here,
Yes.
because we are making those decisions. So, I would just like to see us retain that yea or nay option on
We did,
decisions.
yeah, we did that.
Okay.
If we didn't really do it, I guess it was just the roads on the fire or the general, if you just wanna make a flat out motion.
I don't think
For
we-
all topics, or
Well, I
just
didn't think
roads?
we put really anything over to the planning commission when we
No,
discussed fire, did
we
we?
did it in
No.
our motion to adopt the budget, but that was the 16-17 budget, maybe we should
Just make
do
a
a motion
blanket,
overall from here forward.
I think that'd be good.
let's just
So
do
it's
that.
not just 1 year. and then- right.
Yes.
Make a motion that all recommendations from the planning commission will be a recommendation with the board having the final yea or nay.
Yay on the financial.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, There are a couple of exceptions
I'll
to
second
that.
that motion.
Never mind, this isn't the time or the place. There are exceptions to it, but this isn't the time or the place.
Okay,
You got a motion and you got a second.
you got, you did a second,
Yes.
okay. All in favor, I'm just gonna do a roll call on that. Ken says aye, Randy, aye, myself, aye.
So it's basically moving all recommendations from the planning commission. The board reserves the final, sorry, I didn't write down exactly.
The final vote, yea or nay.
The GIS mapping is our next discussion. That is something that would be, I know Todd was interested in that, and it would be handy for the planning commission as you guys are moving forward with your maps and all your different things.
Did we ever get any numbers, what
I have,
these extra add-ons cost?
I had not got that yet. So I will work at getting that, and I will get, what I'll do is try to have that for the planning commission meeting next month. That'll be something else you guys will need to discuss if you guys really want that or not in your planning commission.
I think if we did go with it initially, we just need the map and the zoning areas.
The zoning areas, maybe your floodplains and
Just what I would do all this.
because that came up during the board of review, which would be handy for Keith, is where the watershed and would be, and to make some, help the board of review do some determinations.
I would vote in favor of it as our planning commission member.
Yeah. So,
As an entry-level package, whatever
Yeah,
that minimum is.
A lot of things they offer, we probably would never.
right, correct. Well, that's what she was the layers. So it was basically, you got your basic map, and then you put the different layers in. You could, like if we want where our natural gas lines are ran.
Our township's not developed that much. So.
No, but then, so we might only need 2 layers versus like the city of Sandusky's probably got 20 layers or 30 layers with the
Right.
sewers and all that. We only need maybe two or 3 layers.
Right.
So that's the cost of the layers is gonna be, and then the cost of maintenance, if there's a cost of maintenance. So, now I'm trying to have all that to the planning commission meeting. Okay, at this point, public comments. Okay. I put a motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting?
I got a comment, I guess. I got a bid for a parking lot on 53.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that.
A bid
I mean, everything you're going to talk about, we could do this, we could do that for building, okay? I
Okay,
got proposed bid to put a parking lot if we decide to go with building on 53 cost.
oh, okay, I see what you're saying now.
You know,
If we decide to build a
Yeah.
township hall, okay.
Right, yep.
you guys got
You just
copies?
gave me a copy right before the
Okay.
meeting. What Mr. Rosentuski did is he stopped at Rooney Contracting and just, said, hey, just kind of throwing this out there, you know, let's get a commercial drive off of M53 and build a parking lot. Let's say we're gonna build a building there.
Approximately a 200 by 200.
Off the 53 property. So they worked up a bid and kind of gave us a number here to look at. So, the number that they gave us was $184,000 and $184,700.
That's just for a parking lot?
And a drive, commercial drive off.
Curb gutter,
No building?
No, that's no structure. No, that's just the drive in the parking lot.
Wow.
But that's only one bid, you should be getting like 3 or
We could get
4.
more bids.
Yeah, we want to get more, but
Well,
thanks Ken for getting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is stuff, actually, yeah, we'll file it, but as of, when the planning commission comes up with a route that they're going to look at going, then all this information will be helpful for them at that time.
I mean, somebody said they put a building up for 130,000 and everything, well,
Yeah.
this is for parking
That
lot,
was-
curb and gutter.
What I would like to see is since we got one company with one bid, let's basically, get 2 more bids with the same identical scenario.
Right.
Same size parking lot, everything, maybe this will help, settle down some of our arguments
That's
we're
what I'm
having.
hoping, I mean, yes.
Well,
So-
that'll be for Ken to handle with the planning commission and talk with, because there's no sense of, you know, thank you for doing that, but we don't even know what the planning commission's decision are, what are they gonna do with that new building?
It
What are
won't
they gonna
hurt-
do with
it
that
won't-
property?
It won't hurt just to get a couple more bids. If
Well-
everyone's gonna be $150,000 or more,
Right, but
then
once
that's not even feasible.
right, once they know which direction they're gonna go,
They won't know which direction they go until they start getting some numbers. Let's get some numbers, that's a good start.
but,
I mean, it's time to get it done and over with.
Yeah,
Yes, oh, yes, I
we're
agree with you.
arguing for a year, I'm getting tired of it, so is everyone
And that's not
else.
even electricity and septic, and I talked to
That's
the
not the
septic
building.
guy, and they won't even put a bid on it, they do a perk test.
yes, yeah. Yeah, I know that. Yes, Christine?
Two things. The first thing is, we've been asking for numbers for quite a long time for the building. The second thing is, I want to thank the board for approving the dollars to start our roads, because they're really bad. So thank you very much for
doing that, yeah.
doing that.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd like to know who wrote the letter to the state of Michigan to get Kurt Winter's place closed down.
the letters as of right now, it was a question asked of our people at the township level. It was a question asked to us. What does it take to start, to start to get approval? And that was what the letter was for approval for that.
Who wrote it? That's all I'm asking, who wrote it?
Lori wrote one and I wrote one. And
Oh.
Mr. Toner.
That's all I asked.
Was that with board approval, sir?
There was no need for board approval when it was just a simple question at what our zoning rules are. What we sent was was our zoning. What steps does it take from our township as our zoning rules, so we sent them a copy of our zoning to them.
And that letter came from the state via to you?
They asked us
They asked you?
They called us for the zoning.
The board should have had something to do with that also.
That's enough, but until we know what's all going on, and I can actually sit down and talk with an attorney, I have not spoken with the attorney about any of this technically yet, so. Any other comments?
So it was a pretty decent meeting.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Not
Make
great, but
motion to
decent. Decent, okay, we'll take that. I second. Lori second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have yours within Sunday?
Yep.
Lori, did I keep my paper that I was? You still don't have anything for okay. Lori, can you wait about 5 minutes? Okay, all right, okay. Should have hurt my shoulder.
I said hi. Yeah. Lucky steps on the floor. Oh, well. One of these days, maybe, right? Yeah, one of these days. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I parked way down there in case that guy backs, you know, I said, I'm waiting down that way.
You are.
Well, yeah, we need to talk about that because it can be a very good thing. Oh, sure. We just got to get it ready for the idea is the planning commission, we're supposed to be meeting up with people who come from a variety of backgrounds, live in a variety of places. I know, we got criticized one time, let's see, Louis Ryan was our treasurer, I was the supervisor, Larry Ron was the clerk, we were all right there, Pennsylvania Road was just there, we all. And, you know, we got accused of that section, running things. This is a way to make sure that one section doesn't run here.
We'll make sure, but I can give you my copies of my have right now.
It'd be a good thing. It's like transport, it's gonna take a little while here to settle out who's gonna come.
I could forward you the emails.
I'll get all that, all the stuff that we have, I'll just bring a whole,
This is a
it'll be a package.
He's going crazy ahead of time. Don't email anything to me right now. No, I'm full of crap. I've got to take
We got viruses.
pop-ups. I can't even get into my email. This pop-up comes, and then this advertising thing comes, and I have to punch that, and it still isn't. I'm gonna take it to repair.
Have it all cleared out, yeah.
We'll get you a packet.
Yeah.
If you would, just because he needs it.
Yeah.
You just leave it at the library and call him, and he can go in and get it.
Yeah, yeah, because I got, we'll try to get one, make a bunch up for
For the whole meeting.
oh,
Yeah.
everybody.
But he'll get a hold of Rooney's and see what he can find out.
Well, that may be common, because Rooney, I just contacted, I contacted him all at the same time. These guys all emailed to me all the information, and Rooney may be sent it in the mail, may not show up till Monday.
Tell me if you think this looks like it's close enough.
So, you just need to check if your original We'll get you some information.
No. Is this for,
That is for border review.
yes, and January and February?
Actually, let me look at my little list here. This, your check amount is this. It's for 2 months of zoning administrators, I think it's February, March, 1 planning commission, and then March board review. This January zoning administrator was already paid.
Like all the time? I can
Yeah, night off.
I just figured you'd have
I got $67. I will,
save it for the next one.
that's it. Yeah, I was,
I usually do buy a couple of things.
you gotta get it done too.
You need to put your name here, treasurer. You're just your own treasurer. It needs to say. Number 3.
You get a chance, you make out a list, and the priority list is what you want done, because you've thrown so many things over here that, there ain't a man here that can remember every one of them.
It's basically,
And the first thing I wanna do is get rid of that zoning ordinance.
So your name and your committee.
That's number one with me, because we've had that for 8 months, And we have not
That's
done
a- that's
anything done
acceptable.
for the last 3 or 4 months, other than working on the lawsuit.
Right,
And that's got to be a pain in the,
right, that's why this, I'm suggesting, and Jason will be able to enlighten you more, and Mr. Reader, on the community planner. Because when you talk with the, sit there with the community planner, they will help, you can make the decisions, they write it for you. So you know how that time and Bernadette spent writing all that out? That community planner does all that for you. That's, yeah, but for a price. Right, but, okay, for that much, $10,000 is what we spent for community planners.
how much
It
money?
it was 14,000 plus having the attorney do it after you guys got done it to rewrite it. They're gonna sit there right there with you and write it while you're right there.
What?
When we get done, we shouldn't have to send it to the attorney.
I'm lost.
You got a ways to go.
We're spending money that we don't have, we can spend it elsewhere.
Well,
Never mind, I'm out of
when
here.
you, last time you guys got done doing it, where did you send it
You
to?
name your committee, and it needs to include
The
your
last time the attorney was right here with
committee
us.
to elect.
Okay, and it was,
He helped us draft.
right, we looked up the bills from all that, was at $14,000.
Less than 7, right around 7.
Yeah, well, it was a bid, initial bid, and then it was all kinds of add-ons that
I have
came
no
up.
idea about that, I don't write the bills.
Right, that's just, when you add all the bills together, that's what it came out to.
We had 2 Ts.
What's that? Ah. I'm trying to, I screwed my first one up too.
Ken, that's about what I did over there, I kinda fumbled through it.
Okay, I'm here as the candidate, and I also sign as treasurer.
$326. I'm the treasurer too.
Yep. There was more stuff to Wilkinson's email, but it was all the stuff that she gave us last year. And then one was to make sure she-
Well, what I'm trying to figure out, is it good or the higher your calcium content, is that good or bad?
Bobby said lower than that.
Lower is better?
No, Mark's got that screwed up.
I think I would think it'd be the higher is
Higher
better.
percentage
Yeah.
content would be more
More concentrated.
concentrated.
From what I'm seeing, Michigan chloride's showing 26%, Wilkinson's showing 20% of calcium.
But I think chloride is a lot more expensive.
That guy left prints for us was here, that guy for the CPL classes.
Oh, what was that?
He sat back here, he came with a van, but he never did say anything.
Some new batteries in the clock. See you later.
See you, Ken. Have a good day.